Greetings to our viewers at home and all around the world. I'm Jonathan Ipiahindi. I'm the head of operations and partnership at GIDA. You're watching the GIDA special. Today, we're not just talking about finding a house, but securing a home that's safe as it is special. We shall be peeling back the layers of one of the most crucial yet often overlooked aspects of buying a home, which is due diligence. At GIDA, we believe in making informed decisions, especially when it's about where you hang your hat. That's why we offer easy access to due diligence reports right from our platform, because knowing is half the battle in property investment. Joining us today is Barrister Chudi, a guardian of buyers' interests and a due diligence expert, who's here to shed light on the intricacies of property vetting. With years of experience in property law, Barrister Chudi will help us understand the layers of checks that make up due diligence. Okay, firstly, could you please introduce yourself and explain your expertise in the field of property law and due diligence?
Okay, good afternoon,
Good
firstly.
afternoon.
So my name is Barrister Chidi, and I am a legal practitioner. It's another word for lawyer. We usually use that in our official settings.
Yeah.
So I am a legal practitioner with over 7 years post-call, and I have extensive experience in real estate transactions and across states in Nigeria. So when you talk about due diligence,
Yeah.
mind you, what I'll be saying is based on experience and based on what the law is.
Yes.
Now, the concept of due diligence is not definite. The idea of due diligence is doing what is reasonably expected of you to
Okay.
do in the circumstances. So it means that when you're carrying out due diligence, then there are certain things that perhaps from what the circumstances reveal,
Yeah.
it should put you on notice to get to the root of the issue. So
Okay.
where you fail to do that, then you cannot be said to have conducted due diligence, because in the event that, particularly in property transactions, an adverse title which ordinarily should have been discovered by the conduct of proper due diligence was not discovered.
Yeah.
In the event that such title succeeds, then you now have yourself to hold because you fail to conduct proper due diligence. Now, when you talk about property transactions, and like I said, due diligence is not definite in terms of what you should do.
Yes.
Yes, there are common grounds that should be checked in all property transactions, but the intricacies, certain things to be looked out for, depend on the circumstances. For example, we have when you talk about acquisition of title, there are different ways through which a person can acquire title in a property.
Yeah.
It could be through leases, it could be through outright assignment, it could be through state grant, it could be mortgage, it could be pledge, it could be even a tenancy. Now, depending on the circumstances, which of them you are adopting to acquire title, that's what is going to determine the extent and the sort of due diligence you would inquire. Of course, you would require, sorry. Of course, in all circumstances,
Yeah.
you would be expected to carry out due diligence at the relative land registry. But when you're talking about specifics now, assignment is different from a mortgage is different from a lease is different from a state grant. State grant, you basically do not have to do much. You have to apply to the state government. But when you're talking about the other ones where you're dealing with private individuals transacting between themselves, if you're looking at an assignment and you're conducting due diligence, even though you have to go to the land registry, there are certain things you look out for. If you are talking about a gift inter vivos or an inheritance,
Yes.
when you are conducting due diligence at the relevant registry, there are certain documents you should look out for. So all these things I'm saying just goes to show that the scope of due diligence is not defined.
Yeah.
Yes, that is on the side of conducting due diligence at the relevant land registry. Other aspects of due diligence entail that could be disclosed by the circumstances. For example, when you are buying a property, uh, say you want to purchase a land for agricultural purposes, naturally, since it's for agriculture, you need to vet that, okay, this land is fit for the purpose for which you are buying it for. Yes, so which means in that context, due diligence would require you to go to the land and carry out further investigations. Perhaps you would even invite a surveyor or somebody who is a soil scientist to check the soil to say that, okay, this soil is good and it possesses the required features. And those are not the legal aspects, but I'm just giving you an insight as to
Yeah, I
how due
understand.
diligence is not defined, but
Mm,
is determined by the circumstances of each transaction.
yeah.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. So for our viewers that may not be familiar, can you explain what a due diligence report is and why it's essential in property by the property buying process?
Okay. So a due diligence report basically is a report by a report of an investigation carried out by a professional telling you in giving you his professional opinion of what he thinks, whether from his investigation it is safe for you to proceed with the transaction.
Okay.
The most important of them definitely is the legal due diligence because that forms the basis of whatever it is you want to do with the land. Without legal due diligence, which means your title is not ascertained or the title you want to acquire is not ascertained. So a due diligence report from the legal perspective would entail, say, a legal professional like myself carrying
Yeah.
out legal investigations to determine whether the person you are buying that property from is the actual owner in the eyes of the law.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
because that's what determines everything. Once he's not the owner, there's nothing you can do about it. No matter how choicy the land may be, you have to leave it and move on. Now, it means that when I investigate, I put down my investigations in writing and sign on it and give to you as my own professional opinion and advice, which would either be this transaction is the title seems to be valid and the
Yeah.
transaction it is safe for you to proceed, or there are certain issues we have discovered. Perhaps there's a mortgage on the land, perhaps there's litigation on the land. It is not safe for you to proceed. If you want to proceed, proceed with caution. If you do not want to proceed, that's fine. If you want to proceed with caution, look out for certain things. Perhaps where you have to keep an eye on, say, on a case where a property is subject of litigation,
Uh,
then the due diligence report in that circumstance would also may also entail us advising you on how best to intervene.
okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I hope I've been able to explain in some detail what a due diligence report is.
Yeah. It leads right into my next question, which is what does the due diligence process typically involve and how long does it
Yes.
take?
So typically, one thing that the foundation of all due diligence reports is the legal due diligence, vetting
Yeah.
the title. And that would require you to visit the relevant land registry, that is the authority that issues title documents, to investigate whether the title document or whether the title over that property is valid and whether it belongs to the person that you are dealing with. So that is very common to virtually every type of land transaction you're dealing in, except tenancies. You know, now it's not like you cannot do it for tenancies, but for economic reasons and because of the length of time, people do not usually do it. And but the point is, it usually entails you visiting the land registry, and under normal circumstances, it shouldn't take long. In Abuja, for instance, the procedure at Aegis
Yeah.
may require the actual title holder to bring his title document for citing. Now, the essence of which is to ensure that the landlord is aware of the transaction and it is a way of trying to prohibit, to stop, to curb land racketeering in
And
Abuja.
fraud, yeah, I
Yes.
understand.
So it may require you to provide an agent of the landlord or the landlord himself to come and present the actual title document for them to verify that this is the original of what we issued. Yes, so all those logistics may affect the time frame.
Yeah.
But where everything is ready, there's say 48 hours. Ordinarily you should have the reports ready.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. All right. Thank
Well,
you.
in other states outside Abuja, for example, I've been opportune to also carry out transactions in Kaduna State and Kano State. Kaduna State, for instance, as far as the file is ready to be searched,
Yes.
within a day, they just give you access to the system, and then you go and compare what you brought or what you have with what is on the system. And once you are done, you make your report and send it out. So
Okay.
it doesn't take long.
All right. So how does due diligence verify clear title and ownership and also purpose of land documents, which might be particularly opaque to buyers from abroad?
So let me begin from answering the part about the purpose.
Okay.
Now, usually, when you're entering acquisition of title is basically entering into a contract with the state. Like the Land Use Act says, the land is owned by the state and is held in trust by the governor of the state for the benefit of every person.
Yes.
So the state basically determines the conditions on which it gives you right to hold that land for the period. So at the end of the tenancy or at the end of the lease, sorry, the right revokes back to the state.
State, yeah.
Now, part of the conditions on which the state gives out titles to land is that the land will be used for a certain purpose, which is usually contained on the title document.
Okay.
Yes. It's usually contained, whether it's right of occupancy, whether it's an offer letter, it's usually contained there.
Okay.
So the important thing is to verify the title. Once you verify that the title you are purchasing is valid, then it means now that the purpose stated on that title document is the purpose for which that land can be used. Yes. Now, some of these purposes could be residential, and it could be commercial, it could be industrial, etc.
Okay.
But when you're talking about how does due diligence verify title,
Yeah.
now the whole essence of due diligence is to disclose defects in the property, whether physical defects, whether defects in title. So that is the essence of due diligence. So if you're carrying out due diligence, then it means that you're actually investigating for a defect in the title of the property. So the result of which must be the title is valid, there's no defect, or go ahead. Now, it discloses defects in the sense that when you approach the land registry, if, for example, somebody wants to buy a land,
Yeah.
and you have an offer, the person has given you his title documents that you should go and conduct your due diligence. Many a times, the person selling the land may not be the person listed on the title document. It may just simply be that after the person bought the land,
Yes.
he failed to register his interest with the relevant land registry. Now, there are implications in law for that. Do you understand? But the thing now is, at the very least, it puts you on notice to request for further documents to fill in the gap in history, because by the time you go to the land registry, it will show you the name of the last title holder that registered his interest in the land. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So when you conduct due diligence, you're going to see all these gaps. You're going to see all this information presented before you. Yes.
Yeah.
So in that way, it's going to disclose whether this person is the right title holder. If you see that the name on the title document is different from the name of the person who is trying to sign off a document, sign off title to you,
Yes.
then it means now that there are many questions to be asked. There should be, at the very least, or at the very starting point, a deed of assignment or an instrument of transfer from the title holder in the government's file,
Yes.
to the title, to the person, the assignor who is now selling to you.
Okay.
So all these facts are issues that are going to be disclosed only by the conduct of due diligence. So I do not know if I still need to shed more light on.
I also have another question. When there's a deficiency between whose name is on the title documents and the person that it was sold to, who is now left to fill in that gap? Is it the person purchasing the property, or the person that has their name on the property, and the person that it was sold to?
The person that it was sold to.
Person that it was
because
sold
he is
to.
the person, the moment you sell a property, you hands off.
Yes.
You hands off. So it is for the person that is currently selling the property, which is the person you as the buyer is dealing with.
Yes.
So it is for him to prove his title to the property.
Okay.
You understand? That's the reason why he gave you a document for you to approach the land registry with. And so when you discover any discrepancy, then he should fill in the gaps. Yes. If he's saying that he didn't buy from this person, he bought from this person, who bought from this person, then there should be title documents or instruments of transfer down the line up until it gets to the person whose name is in the government's file. Okay. Otherwise, then it is not safe for you to proceed.
All right. Thank you very much. So what would you say are some of the biggest risks that buyers face if they skip due diligence when trying to purchase property?
The biggest risk a buyer can face is you lose your title. That's the whole essence of buying the property, isn't it? To acquire title in that property. So if you fail to conduct due diligence, and then unfortunately for you, there's adverse interest in the land, which would have been disclosed if you had conducted due diligence. And in the event that, I'm not going to buy land and then somebody will be building on it and I'll keep my hands folded, I would take steps, which naturally would mean I would go to court. So if we go to court and the adverse interest succeeds over your own interest,
Yeah.
then you've lost title. So that is the biggest thing. You lose it entirely. Yes.
Oh. So can you share like a case where due diligence has saved like a client from this happening, or where doing lack of due diligence has caused like significant cause for a client?
Yeah, I can share one. Yes, I can. It happened this year, earlier this year.
Okay.
So there's this practice among many real estate um, brokers
Okay.
in Abuja, where when you want to buy property, they think is something in the market where you just go, you look at it, you say you want to buy, you just pay money. Perhaps they just try to do that to rattle customers into parting with their money immediately. You don't want
Oh,
them
yes.
to tell you that there's somebody that's about to pay in 30 minutes.
Mm.
Now, when you now say you want to pay, some customers even try, or some clients even try to say, okay, let me see title documents. I want to go and conduct search. But these people don't want that to happen. And they know how to sweet talk people into believing that what they are dealing in is authentic.
Yes.
So you have these clients who approach the real estate company that, oh, I want to buy your land. I saw it and I liked it. Table land, no problem. 25 million.
Huh.
Okay, let me see title document. We cannot show you. Why? Until you pay. Until you make deposit. It's a very common practice in Abuja, and it is very wrong. You see, because there are stages to every land transaction.
Yeah.
Yes. And at that point in time, it is not the stage for you to collect money. It is the stage for you to investigate. It's
Yes.
yes, exactly. So they refuse to give this guy title document. It's not like we're even asking for the original, just a copy. Just a copy for us to be able to go and investigate. And they said he needed to pay. So he came back to me and I told him, no, that's a red flag. That's a red flag. And don't proceed with it. Because anybody who knows that what he's selling is valid, then he has no basis to be afraid. We are not asking for original. Give us photocopy. It is the normal practice. And so it was like, I don't want to miss this opportunity. I said,
Yeah.
oh, another one will come. Land not the finish for market. Yes, another opportunity will come.
Yeah.
And you would buy, perhaps you would even see something better. So he said, okay, he will get back to me. I was on my own. I got a phone call at night, one day. I didn't talk to him for like 2 months.
Yeah.
After he has mobilized to site, he went to site, he saw fence, he saw gates. He's not the one that put it. He now called me. I said, what do you want? I was advising you before that don't rush into this thing.
Yeah.
You believe them. They told you your lawyer doesn't know anything. They gave you their own lawyer and you went and dealt with them. Now you're calling to come and do what? So it was unfortunate for my own guy because he did not act according to my advice and then he put himself in trouble. But it just goes to show the importance of following professional advice and, understanding the importance of due diligence and acknowledging that where you are not a professional, then you're not competent to conduct it by yourself. And it is not safe for you as a buyer to rely on the advice of the person who is selling.
Yes.
Because everybody is bound to protect his
their
own
interests.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
So when push comes to shove, everybody tightens up and you're left in the middle. So if we go to court now, the best we can do is to sue to get his money back. But as far as title is concerned, there's somebody who had
a title already.
So which means the person who was selling to him did not have title to sell.
And that could have been,
yes.
Due diligence, you wouldn't have
would
faced
have
that.
known that. And the money, you see, real estate is something that they call it is next to, I don't want to use the word in the video, but, it's very profitable.
Yes.
So you would perhaps he was calculating that if I buy this land now, see houses where they this place in one, see how the place I will sell even if he doesn't want to build.
Yes.
And he was carried away by the thought of all that, and he just skipped the procedure and put himself in trouble. So now his money is stuck for some time. So yes, that's it. It's just the end of it. The summary of this is that never skip it.
Okay.
Yes.
So with that, there are many buyers that still see due diligence as an unnecessary expense. How would you argue that it is a valuable investment for these buyers?
Okay. Yes. So imagine you want to buy a property How much is this property? 250 million.
Okay.
How much will it cost you to do due diligence? 1 million, 2 million, depending on the extent.
Yeah.
But it's never so much compared to the value of the property at the time, and even the value of the property in the future,
Uh-huh.
and the inconvenience it will cost you, if you have to, in the event that you skip it, now fight to protect that very title. So the point is, you are buying a property 250 million, due diligence 2 million, and because of 2 million, you feel like, it's too much. I'm not going to spend 2 million. And there's adverse interest on the property. You did not do due diligence, you did not do due diligence. So you didn't know about it, or you could not have seen it, even if you feel you are the sharpest man, but you're not a professional, so you don't have the eye to detect certain minor, small things that can just tip your boat over. So because of 2 million, you decided to go and stake 250 million on what the vendor has told you, that he's a pastor. He goes to church every Sunday. He doesn't, he's God fearing. He cannot cheat. And push comes to shove. It turns out that even the pastor, then was just to bring somebody to buy property and get commission and go away. And then your money is stuck.
Yeah.
So which would you prefer in the circumstance? To pay 2 million and secure 250 million, or to leave out the 2 million and run the risk of losing 250 million? So
Doesn't make sense.
yes, it's something that you have to budget when you want to buy properties. There are certain things you must budget for. Due diligence, perfection of title. Those are things that secure your interest. Without, there's no negotiation about it.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. So when it comes to properties, how does the cost of conducting due diligence compare to the potential unforeseen issues that may arise without doing it?
I think let's at this point in time, I think some of the issues we cannot actually call them unforeseen,
Yeah.
because we know
What may arise?
what will arise.
Yeah.
Mitigation, definitely. Yes. So having identified some of these issues, the cost of doing due diligence, 2 million, give or take. The cost of the property, 250 million. You didn't do due diligence. You saved 2 million. That's fine.
Yeah.
And then issues come up. We go to court. You pay your lawyer how much? 25 million, 20 million to protect a title which would have secured with 2 million.
Yeah.
In going to court, you call witnesses, you call this person, logistics. Those ones
Yeah.
will take another. The agents that brought you bring them to court. And then the cost of prosecuting the case, 5 million, 10 million. So even the cost of protecting the title where issues arise after buying, where you didn't do due diligence, is far more expensive than the due diligence itself.
Yes.
Yes. So it's an opportunity for gun situation where you choose one or the other, but the logical man would definitely go for due diligence because it saves you a whole lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree with you. So why is it important to have like a legal expert conduct due diligence rather than have or rely on personal judgment or a non-professional advice from maybe somebody you think knows one or two things about due diligence?
In one word, competence.
Oh.
Yes, you are a real estate dealer because you are competent to be one.
Yeah.
I am a legal practitioner because I am competent to be one. So if I'm looking for choice houses to buy or properties to buy in particular areas, I'm looking for the best deals. I will not rely on my competence because that is not what the competence is for. I would instead come to you because you have the eye to identify that, okay, a property in this area that is just developing is likely to, appreciate so much in value.
Yeah.
So the reason why I have to come to you to help me choose where to buy or to facilitate or to broker a real estate deal is the same reason why you have to come to me to conduct due diligence over that property, because I have the eye to identify certain issues, certain things in the transaction. You give me a deed of assignments to look at as a way of vetting title in the property, and I look at the transaction and I see one clause there, one clause there. If I give it to you, you're not a lawyer. Even if you look at it from now till next tomorrow, you will not see what I'm saying.
Yeah, true.
I go to the lands registry to register something. I see some writings like that, which means that there's something registered on it. Exactly.
Mm.
You may see the writing, because it will be in English, but you may not understand what it means. That is the eye of competence.
Mm.
So the importance of engaging a professional to conduct due diligence for you is simply for him to, in his professional view, identify issues that threaten your title or that threaten the title you want to acquire
Yes.
in the property.
Mm. Okay. So you have a partnership with GIDA to help buyers, prospective buyers, conduct due diligence. What does that relationship look like?
Okay, well, the relationship looks very, very interesting, I would say, because it brings it's what is the way, it expands the frontiers of real estate practice, to make it in tune with modern times. In Nigeria, basically, we stuck to this brick and mortar mode of carrying out transactions. In terms of, you want to buy land, somebody has to travel from Kaduna to
Yeah.
wherever to do due diligence or give instructions and do stuff.
Yes.
Now, GIDA has chosen to eliminate all those logistics delays by making everything electronic, so that wherever you are, not just in Nigeria, even outside, from our platform, you can view whatever properties you like and instruct for due diligence to be conducted on these properties. So it no longer is necessary for you to now have to come down. We've made it seamless.
Oh,
Yes.
true.
And once you do that, we get the instruction automatically, and we jump into action.
Yeah, thank you. So speaking more of the diaspora, why is it important for people in the diaspora to conduct due diligence, and why should they trust? Why should they trust? Because they don't know any of these legal practitioners. For instance, yourself as a professional. So why should they trust you when doing their due diligence?
Now, first of all, the importance of people in diaspora doing due diligence. It's a whole lot difficult. It's a whole lot more difficult for them because they are far away from the property. So it's not something that they can actually just rush down, assuming they were within Nigeria.
Yeah.
And so due diligence is everything to them. It's the only way they can confirm the legitimacy or otherwise of the transaction they are trying to enter into. And so it's very important for them to, every step of the way, ensure that whatever due diligence is required in the circumstances is carried out. Now, that they've chosen to patronize GIDA in meeting their real estate needs. It shows that they've trusted GIDA already. And one thing about transactions is the issue of trust.
Yes.
And since these people are dealing with GIDA, even though we are partnering with GIDA, we are a part of GIDA already. So if they trust GIDA, they trust us. And another thing is that we are an ethically driven organization, and we are not hidden. Our addresses are known in Abuja, and where issues come up in our transactions, it's easy to find us. We are a registered business entity, so we are recognized by law. We're legal practitioners duly called to the Nigerian bar. So our information is with the relevant authorities.
Yes.
So where we commit any sort of, or where people have questions as to our legitimacy or otherwise, they can always go ahead to verify from these sources whether we are actually what we say we are.
Yeah.
So I believe when they take those steps, it's them actually now conducting due diligence on us. So when they take those steps, I believe, and then they add it to the information we give to them and they corroborate each other, I believe the trust will build. And then when they see the value of what we give to them and then, we bring results, I believe, it's going to build their confidence and they will come back again and even refer people to.
Okay, thank you. So, lastly, there are people that have purchased properties from what we've seen, for instance, from joint ventures and had issues because they did not conduct due diligence. What would you say you advise them to do in retrospect moving forward?
Summarily, is to conduct due diligence. Now, the issue, this issue of joint ventures or arrangements is something that happens very well in Abuja because many developers many developers enter into joint ventures to raise funds to develop the properties. So you may have a situation where, for example, a landlord has a piece of land.
Yes.
It's not developed. He doesn't have money to build.
Yeah.
He calls a developer to come and build something on his house, and he enters into an arrangement that, okay, build something, maybe build 7 blocks of flats or something. Keep these ones for me. The remaining, sell
Sell
it
it.
and recoup your investment. That is fine. Now, this developer he called also does not have enough money to build 7 flats. So he now called his colleague and say, okay, come, I have this deal. So let's partner on it. I have enough money to build 3. You have enough money to build 4. Take this plot of land, build your 4. Take this, build this. And at the end of the day, everybody sells to get their money back. Now, you see now that even though there's one title holder,
Yeah.
everybody now has an interest in the property.
Yeah.
So due diligence now is important in this sort of situations more than ever, because your root of title is the contract. It's basically an agreement between all these people.
Yeah.
And so if you are not careful in reviewing these clauses, you may find out that you now go and buy property from somebody who does not have power to sell. Yes. So the bottom line is that where proper due diligence is not conducted, the solution is to conduct more due diligence to correct whatever was not done before, and this time around with the purposes of taking the necessary steps to protect your title.
Yeah. So if you could leave our viewers with one key takeaway about the importance of due diligence in property transactions, what would that be?
It would be that due diligence is the bedrock of a property transaction. It's everything, basically, because it determines whether the transaction actually holds or we are calling it off.
Yeah.
You see, because there's no word to express adequately the importance of due diligence, but I will just summarize it in a phrase. Due diligence in property transactions is everything.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. It's been a very enlightening interview. You shed a lot of light on due diligence's importance, its relevance, and why it is necessary for people in the diaspora and also in Nigeria to conduct due diligence. Thank you very much for your time. It's been a pleasure. And for all our viewers, thank you for watching. Join us again. Have a good day.
Thank you.